Belle walked through the village square, her attention fixed on the pages of a worn book, ignoring the low murmurs of the crowd. The rhythm of the day shattered when a horse galloped into the square, its saddle empty and leather straps trailing in the dirt. Belle dropped her book, caught the reins, and turned the animal back toward the dark, tangled forest. She followed the trail to a massive iron-wrought gate, pushing through thorns to reach the castle courtyard. Inside the grand hall, she found her father locked behind a heavy wooden door. A shadow stretched across the stone floor. The beast emerged from the darkness, his eyes burning with a cold, sharp light as he slammed a clawed hand against the wall. "He stole from my garden," the beast growled. Belle stepped between the beast and the door. "Take me instead," she demanded. The beast paused, then gestured toward the stairs. "Stay then," he muttered. The deal was struck, and the door groaned open. Days bled into weeks within the castle walls. The air hummed with a strange rhythmic ticking, and light flickered in corners where no candles burned. A golden candlestick hopped across the table, pouring tea into a chipped cup that whistled a soft, mournful melody. Belle spent her mornings in the library, tracing the spines of ancient, dust-covered books. The silence was absolute until the heavy oak doors groaned open. The beast entered, his head bowed low, his movements stiff and deliberate. He pushed a heavy cart toward her, piled high with leather-bound volumes. He did not speak, but he pulled a chair out for her, his claws scraping against the stone floor. Belle looked up, meeting his gaze. The tension in the room shifted, pulling tight like a wire. She reached out, her fingers brushing against his scarred hand. He flinched, a sharp, sudden movement, but she did not pull away. He froze, his breathing hitching. Then slowly, his posture relaxed. The harshness in his eyes dimmed. For a hot beat, the weight of the castle and the curse seemed to vanish. The library, once a prison of solitude, became a bridge between them. The library grew cold as winter settled over the castle. Belle sat before the magic mirror, her focus pulled toward the glass. The surface rippled, revealing her father. He was collapsed in the snow, his body shivering violently, one hand clutching his chest as he struggled for breath. Belle stood, her chair clattering against the stone floor. She turned to find the beast standing directly behind her. He did not look at her, but instead stared into the mirror, his gaze fixed on the dying man. The silence in the room stretched until it felt brittle. The beast turned toward the heavy front doors. He walked with a heavy, deliberate gait, his claws gripping the iron handles. With a sudden, forceful pull, he threw the doors wide. The freezing wind roared into the hall, swirling snow across the floor and extinguishing the candles. He did not look back at her. He stood in the center of the gale, his frame silhouetted against the white void outside. "Go," he whispered. Belle did not hesitate. She ran past him, out into the biting cold, leaving the beast standing alone. The doors slammed shut behind her. Belle sprinted through the overgrown courtyard, her boots sliding on the frost-covered thorns. She shoved the grand hall doors open, the wood groaning against the stone. The castle was deathly still. She raced toward the garden, her breath hitching in her throat. There, slumped against the cold stone floor, lay the beast. His chest barely moved, a shallow, rhythmic flutter that signaled his waning strength. She dropped to her knees, the damp earth soaking through her clothes, and pressed both hands firmly against his chest. She felt the frantic, weakening beat beneath her palms. "I am here," she whispered, her voice cutting through the oppressive silence. The moment the words left her lips, the air surged. A brilliant, blinding light erupted from the center of the garden, radiating outward like a shockwave. The ground beneath them trembled as the magic surged, tearing the heavy, dark atmosphere apart. Belle held on, her eyes squeezed shut. The blinding light receded, leaving behind a soft, golden glow. Where the beast had fallen, a man now stood, his breathing deep and steady. Across the courtyard, the heavy, dark stone walls softened into warm, polished masonry. Nearby, the clatter of porcelain and metal ceased as the teacups and candlesticks shifted, rising from the floor to reveal people blinking. The sun crested the horizon, casting long, gentle shadows across the garden. The biting chill vanished, replaced by the scent of blooming flowers. Belle stood, her hands still trembling, and looked at the man before her. He reached out, his movements fluid and natural, and took her hand. They stood together in the quiet garden, the weight of the past lifted, celebrating a life reclaimed.